Dress up in turtleneck.
It's the Skye-Cast, the Star Wars Collector's Archive podcast, a monthly audio magazine dedicated to vintage Star Wars toys and memorabilia. Hosted by Skye Payne, Fun, and Stephen B. Danley. Market data by Brisbane Mike and Fratastic Pete. Tech support by the Low Bart. Let's go, space freaks! Skye and Steve discuss the Emperor's Royal Guard, ERG, with Old Angel Eyes himself, Mattias Rendahl. We explain blueprints, reference photos, brown capes, first shots, and POTF mock-ups. Unloved umbrellas and unseen jumpsuits. Plus, we debut the brand new Space Freak of the Week feature by interviewing Dallas Ewen and Mark Sanders. Plus, the most exciting and hockey-themed Market Watch game ever. Wampa Wampa.
Welcome to Skye-Cast number 81.
Yeah, this is a very peculiar episode.
Yes.
It is currently 7 o'clock in the morning for Stephen B. Danley's, and it's have we ever recorded the show in the morning, Steve?
I think the only time was when we were trying to get in on the farthest from with Dave.
Oh,
but that was
right. That was the Skype massacre. That did not work out.
No, it did not. But no, it's funny. Like the lighting is exactly the same as it would be otherwise. It looks. I feel like
right.
It's just like a bizarre world right now. But it's good. So
well, it's really funny for me because I decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my morning coffee in my Emperor cup. So I always get my coffee for free. I go to the Y and I exercise and I bring 2 coffee cups with me and I fill them up as I leave because I'm a cheap bastard. And so I poured the coffee into the Emperor cup. Steve, who's the smartest person you know? Not me. It cracked the cup. But I managed to take a picture of it before it cracked with my little organic Pop-Tart that I eat. Of course, organic Pop-Tarts are good for you. And but I've been really productive, Steve. I actually just finished editing the last Bloglog pod.
Awesome. All right.
And if I were not recording this with you right now, I would be putting that up on the feed. So it's already on the feed, so that's really fun. Kind of a weird, funny episode, 45 minutes, like going back to the old days.
Yeah.
And speaking of going back to the old days, Steve, okay, the first person we ever interviewed for this show was you. Do you know the second person we interviewed for this show?
It was Mattias, right?
Yeah, that's right. It was Mattias when we did our Vintage World Tour, which we basically abandoned.
Yeah, didn't get too far, but
no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was the first stop, right?
He was, and there's actually still half of an interview with him somewhere on my computer because I thought it was going too long back when I cared about those things, which I now care about again.
It's come full circle.
It's come full circle.
So
we're going to be talking to him this month and next month. But Steve, I like this up-tempo, high-energy, full-court press way of recording.
Yes. We're on the clock here.
We are on the clock, and I think it's going to lead to some good results. Like I don't need to talk about college basketball, the fact that my family lives in West Virginia, so I'm in favor of them, and they do the full court press and all that. Steve, we're not going to talk about it.
All right.
We're just going to get straight to the intro to the show, which is this, Steve. What's our figure of the month?
The Emperor's Royal Guard.
Yes, the ERG.
Right.
And I don't know. What's your feeling, Steve?
I think this is one of those times where, a lot of vintage characters kind of get hyped up as being super cool because they're bad guys. This is one of the ones where I actually kind of subscribe to it. I don't know if you feel that way.
Well, it's changed over the years, but definitely growing up, I thought they were some of the coolest characters. I liked playing with them the most. I think they sort of deliver on the less you know, the cooler they are promise.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they really are kind of evil. There's something about that red, and there's something about the fact that they do nothing.
Yes, yeah.
I would say I don't have much of a movie thought, except that they somehow, whatever it is that Lucas knows how to do, and people make fun of Lucas a lot, but showing the Emperor and then introducing new bad guys that do nothing but just stand there. Somehow you understand intrinsically that they are elite. You understand that they are the best of the best.
Right,
And they just stand there. And Yeah, I will say that Robot Chicken has greatly influenced my love of the Emperor's Royal Guard. My son's memorized all of the Emperor's lines from Robot Chicken.
Oh my God!
And there's the one where he sits down in the chair, and there's the vent above him. He goes, "Hey, Crayola, why don't you come over here with your staff of Ra and fix it?" And I love calling him Crayola.
Oh, that's great. I don't have to revisit those. It's been forever.
Oh, if you have not watched every single Robot Chicken with the Emperor 20 times, you are robbing yourself of excellent Star Wars content.
Welcome, my master. The Death Star construction.
Yeah, great, fine, whatever. That flight was a f***ing nightmare, man. My stupid tray table broke, and I ended up with a gallon of coffee in my crotch. It's like dunking my wang in hot lava. Something you have some experience with, I guess, huh? Right?
Yeah. Is that yours?
No, for the 100th time. That's that same stupid black bag. Mine doesn't have a stripe. It's like that stripy bag is mocking me. You, stripy bag. Well, my suitcase is gone. Sacrifice to the airport guards. Now I'm here for 2 f***ing weeks with 1 f***ing robe. All right, now it's sticking to me like a wet Kleenex. Yeah, guess I'll just be killing myself then. Good chair, good chair. Nice lumbar support. Great view of utter blackness. Oh, fuck. I'm right under the air conditioning vent. And the chair's bolted to the floor? Who's the brainiac? Hey, Crayola, help me shut this vent. Yeah, reach up there with your staff of Ra and... Hey, want to see me tempt fate? Could this day get any worse? I did it ironically, so I think I'm safe.
But Steve, this is not how we get back on track. This is rambling. No. This is enjoyable.
This
is nice. We got to call Mattias really soon.
Yes, pretty soon. Yeah.
So what's your? Should we flip a script here?
Yeah. Let's do it.
It's getting really, really hot in here.
Flip the script.
Flip the script.
Okay. So what do you have to say? What does the script to Return of the Jedi say about the Emperor's Royal Guard?
So there isn't much script-wise that I could turn up, but I thought that there was some really neat concept art that we could talk about. And, I sent you some pictures.
Yes.
But basically, so the final design of the Royal Guard came from Nilo Rodishimero, who he was the one that kind of came up with the red idea.
Okay.
But before that, when Ralph McQuarrie was still working on the film, he had a lot of neat concepts that were a lot more black and gray and like very Vader-like, which I thought was interesting. It was almost like Vader was like of the same DNA as the Royal Guards in terms of his getup.
Right.
And then when he came back, so Ralph left Return of the Jedi in like 1982, and he came back.
He did?
Yeah. So he left Lucasfilm, in the early going of Return of the Jedi. So he came back to do the Return of the Jedi portfolio, which he had done for the first 2 movies, where he took actual production paintings and released them and in these great portfolios. So he did one of those for Jedi, but the thing was, the movie had already been filmed, so this is more of a I better finish it out. And he would do paintings that kind of looked like production paintings, but they were actually just new, based on the movie paintings. And there's this one that has the Death Star hangar and a bunch of Royal Guards in it, which they have the red, but they still look very different than what the final thing looked like. And the weirdest thing I noticed was that I'd never noticed this before. I didn't look closely, but the ones that you see in close-up, they're the little slit where in the mask you actually see their human faces in it, which I thought was totally cool and different.
Yeah, that's true, because you don't really know what they are. You can't see through them. There's like some kind of visor thing there. Right. You don't know if they're like cyborg or what. But I just thought that this iteration of them kind of showing their human face was very like Wizard of Oz-ish almost. I don't know if that makes sense. I didn't know too that the Return of the Jedi portfolio was kind of cooked. That's funny. It was. It's funny. Like, I think he only did maybe a half dozen production paintings for Return of the, like actual production paintings, and the rest, he was happy to do it, but he did it more after the fact. And so the real guy, I've seen his name before. I'm going to say what I think his name is, and you correct me. I think his name is Neil Giles Rodeo. That's how, when you see a name and you just get it in your head a certain way, you never get it corrected. No. So is it not Neil Giles Rodeo?
I think I feel better with that than what I was trying to say, because I realized that was the first time I'd ever tried to say his name out loud, but I had the same problem. I like that.
Neil Giles Rodeo.
I like that better.
Yeah. Definitely that's one of the things that gets lost in all of the Macquarie love is it seems like people really want to take credit away from Lucas. You know, like I just credited Lucas with coming up with the Royal Guard, and obviously he had just some basic idea. But then people want to give all that credit to Macquarie, but then you lose Joe Johnston and you know, you lose Niles Rodeo, Jerome Niles Rodeo.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, like, I mean, a lot of the stuff that Macquarie did obviously was based on things that Joe Johnston and Rodeo did.
No, but what's his real name? Jamero?
Jamero, I think. Yeah.
Jamero. Okay, Neil Rodeo Jamero. Well, cool. I do have a Skye-Ku. Okay, listen, Steve. We don't talk about Celebration much, right?
No,
because
we haven't. No.
I realized going back that people don't want to listen to things about something that's coming up. You know, we are an audio magazine, and I don't want it to be too much things that aren't interesting in the future. Yeah. But the archive party is completely sold out.
Completely sold out, yeah.
That's awesome and amazing. We have a lot of interesting things. Steve, I don't know if you heard about a pie in the sky, but there is going to be a throw a pie at me contest.
Wait, what?
Yeah, John Peck came up with it.
Okay.
So listen, you're listening to the show, and I know you love Steve and hate me. So if that's true, give some money and throw a pie in my face, okay? That's why do you think I created this persona of this arrogant jerk face, except to raise money for little puppies?
Right. Okay. The end game is finally coming to light.
Yep, and I am going to be presenting on a panel with Steve, the At the Movies panel.
Yes.
And that should be pretty fun. So I think a lot of people will be listening to this on their way to Celebration. So that's why I did want to mention it. Okay. Steve, when is our panel?
So the panel is Saturday from 3 to 4, and we're also going to be joined by Ron and Todd Chamberlain. So it should be fun.
I think it'll be quite amazing. You'll see lots of great stuff. This is, Steve really taking the lead. I'm just riding his coattails. I really shouldn't be on the panel, to be honest, but I rode my coattails in on there. And the one funny thing, Steve, is do you remember when they first started the Star Wars podcast stuff at Celebration?
Yeah.
You remember that because we were on that. We did it. We were on the first wave of it. But we somehow were not accepted this month. So there will be no live podcast, but Steve, we're going to do one on the run, okay?
Yeah, we'll do it guerrilla style.
Yes. We'll do it Gamorrean Guard style.
Right.
I actually had a funny joke about that, but I forget it. But I'm not going to remember it, Steve, because now it's time for the Skye-Ku.
Okay.
And what I'm really going to try to get at is both the menace and the futility of the Emperor's Royal Guard.
Okay.
Crayola blood red. Emperor's Royal Guard stands. Useless hate flower. So that's...
I like the hate flower. Man,
yeah.
Powerful.
Right? Isn't that what he is? He's a little hate flower.
Yeah.
A beautiful little tulip of hate, Tulips can be red, right? We can ask Mattias. He's in Sweden, which is basically Holland. Yeah, and you may hear my brother in the distance. He's running. So
he's not still sticking out your window, is he?
No, he's not. But he's like. So I have this really casual attitude about being a homeowner, where I don't care if I don't have strike plates in my house, and I don't care if I don't have blinds and all this stuff. And my brother Avis is very helpful and nice, and he's also very into having a nice house. So he always comes to my house and basically just does a whole bunch of labor while I goof around in the basement recording podcast. So this is dedicated to Amos, the Luke Jedi collector and artiste extraordinaire, who's always supported the show and is currently supporting my life quite well.
It's good to have that.
The part that I'm doing, Steve, is I'm not having pride.
Right, you're letting all that go. It's just...
right. I'm just letting my brother help me, and it's a vulnerable position to let somebody help you, but I'm willing to do it. Awesome. Well, I think what we're going to do is basically have 2 episodes in a row where Mattias is going to just ride shotgun with us the whole time.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, not shotgun, but he'll be sitting in the back, almost passed out drunk, going, ah. So should we call Mattias?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay, here we go. Hi guys, it's Mattias. Hey Mattias, how's it going? It's Skye and Steve. So what time is it out there for you? Oh, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Ah, fantastic. I'm just kidding, guys. That was me. That was Mattias. Okay,
you're getting pretty good at that. Yeah.
But Steve, before we talk to Mattias, we're also going to add something on at the endish of this episode, which is our new feature, which is Space Freak of the Week, like Raphael Sadiiq.
Ah, right.
So we're going to, because we've put out the call that we want to talk to a lot of different people, but then I never have the follow through to contact anybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to record 10-minute interviews. They're going to be timed, and they're going to be 10 minutes. And if they're done in 5, then we're just going to go blah, 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 right?
Right.
But we're just going to talk to different space freaks, and it's going to be called Space Freak of the Week, like Raphael Sadiiq. But it's not weekly. Like we'll talk to like maybe 3 in a month or one month,
Right.
or it's just going to be for the rhyme that it's going to be Space Freak of the Week, like Raphael Sadiiq. Right. So that's a very obscure Wu-Tang Clan reference, by the way, Steve. But you know what's great about getting to be the person who does all the posts for this podcast, Steve? I get to make as many stupid references as I like.
Yes, you do.
So stay tuned to that as well. I don't even know exactly who we're going to talk to because, we're putting our feelers out there. I will go in and edit in the names of the people we're going to speak to right here.
Dallas Ewen, Mark Sanders.
And so there you go. All right, now let's talk to Mattias. You see, the thing about a good impression, Steve, is you have to take the thing that is a little bit and just totally exaggerate it.
Right.
So the
exactly.
total exaggerated way, it's just all okay. All right, well, we are, Mattias, unfortunately, we've already spoken to you once on this episode. I did my Mattias impersonation with Steve, and it was quite amazing. So the audience might not believe it's actually you. So could you please say, my name is Mattias Rendahl, so they hear what the real Mattias sounds like?
My name is Mattias Rendahl, and I guess it's like almost impossible to hear the difference.
So it's funny because we're talking to you now because you're a Emperor's Royal Guard collector, but then Steve realized next month is Chief Sherpa. So
oh my God.
So we're probably going to do back-to-back Mattias, but that's good because you've often been one of the people in the third chair, so to speak. And next month we will officially declare that we are changing the pronunciation of Chirpa to Sherpa. Because of Mattias, right? Because you get to decide. You are the Mattias master. But what's up with the Royal Guard, Mattias? Are you really? Do you really collect the Emperor's Royal Guard? What's your story with him?
Long story short, is like back at Celebration 4, I had already decided to start to collect like pre-production in general. And all of a sudden, Steve York came from nowhere with boxes of stuff, and he had a blueprint for the staff, the lance, the Imperial Guard lance, as it says on it.
Wait, it says Imperial Guard lance?
Yeah.
Now, are we sure that's not just the name of one of the Imperial Guards? His name. Hi there, I'm Imperial Guard Lance. Okay.
Yeah. Who knows?
Okay.
You don't know. And I was like, hey, that's cool. I don't have a blueprint. I kind of wanted to have one of each step of the process, and so I got it. And then I have this crazy OCD. As soon as I get one piece, I start to build like a character run. I hate it and love it at the same time. And now, like, what is it, like 10, 11 years later? I guess I can call myself a Royal Guard collector as well.
Now, let's spend some more time with blueprints, because we spend a little bit of time with blueprints. But where do blueprints fit in? Because Mattias is, of course, also the person who wrote and illustrated and did everything for A New Proof and the upcoming Cromlin Strikes Back, which we will promote later. And of course, a blueprint has nothing to do with 2D production, Steve, does it? So I'm a schmuck. But at least I'm not going on and on about my new idea about calling the Imperial Guard Lance, which I'll get to in a second. So where is a blueprint in the production process? Do you know, Mattias?
Well, it is what it says. It's a blueprint, and it could act like it could have different purposes. Like the early blueprints we've seen has been like for color guidance for the figures to set for the like 12 back figures, but it's also for the engineering of the items that's not sculpted. So the designer can use it as a reference for designing. In this case, the lance.
Yes, the Staff of Ra. Wow. Well, and it has a lot of writing on it. So this would have been designed at Kenner in Cincinnati, or who was working on the blueprints?
Yeah, this was, if I remember correctly, it was a Bizer. You should call like some of I don't know what he did at Kenner, but he's a well-known name. You can see on different kind of paperworks. Chris O'Ron or someone should know that. And he has his name on this blueprint. And oh, sorry, my dog is here. Get away. Sorry.
Wait, no, we love dogs on the show. What's your dog's name, Mattias?
Kalle.
Kalle.
It's like Carl, but in Swedish. Kalle.
Is it named after Winona Ryder's character in the best Alien movie, Alien Resurrection? Okay.
Yeah. Or
no, we'll move on.
No.
Wow,
Sorry.
Steve. There's a long history of awkward silences in our podcast. So that was the worst. Okay. All right. So that's.
I had to go through like why did we name him Kalle? Is the Kale? No, it's like sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I mean, we're jumping right in with some pretty awesome Royal Guard items, like Imperial Guard Lance blueprint. And what I have here in front of me is a picture of Mattias's collection, and he has a lot of different things that we haven't talked about on the show, really. And so I thought we could sort of go through some of these things while we're going. So we started with the blueprint, which you're saying was designed probably for the paint application and also for the actual...
No. This wasn't like sculpted, since it's like it doesn't need to be sculpted, since it's like this mechanical form.
Okay.
Steve got better wordings for it, so this was like manufactured and not sculpted.
So how about we move out of 3D into 2D to something else that you have on your collection, which is something that I have as well, which is a black and white photograph of Luke and Vader in the elevator of the Emperor's Tower with the Emperor's Royal Guards next to him. It's a black and white photo, and it's kind of scratched out with writing across it. What is this black and white photograph? What was it used, and by whom, and for what reason?
That is what we call a reference photo. That's Lucasfilm sent out to the license companies. Kenner got these, Paltoy, all kind of like the ones that made color books, trading cards. So they like reference photos from the movies, so they could make designs based on the characters, etc. And so they shouldn't be able to use it like for press purposes or something. They scratched it, or they has writings on it crossed over just so they couldn't use it. This was like before Photoshop time, so easy way to destroy the usage of a photo.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good example of a really gray area prototype, because it's not really a prototype, but it served a function in the creative process, and it feels to me like it's one of the great sort of entry point items that one can get that's one of a kind, that are not that expensive, and they display better than things like slides, but they're just kind of weird. I mean, I know I have one of Chewbacca in the Endor bunker, but it's not even framed. I didn't put a tack through it, but almost, because it just seemed it just seems so like whatever. But it's actually a really cool part of it. And those showed up like 5 years ago, Mattias? When did those pop up? The reference photos.
Here's different. What you have to remember with the reference photos is like the origin can be so different. There are like collectors, no names, but like Brock Walker. If it doesn't source directly back to Kenner, he don't care about it, because there are Lucasfilm sent out to all kind of companies that have a license, like underwear manufacturer that was going to make Royal Guard underwear, and if it came from them, it wasn't used as a reference by Kenner for the action figure, and so it depends on how anal you want to be as far as, and this one comes from Todd Chamberlain, and it's not coming directly from Kenner. It comes from another company. So
do you know which company? Was it Hanes? Was it for Emperor's Guard Royal Underwear?
No, I can't remember. He's surfaced quite a few.
Was this one of the ones that was for the coloring books? I think I got one of the ones from that same batch from Todd that has Jabba on it. I can't remember what the company's name is. That it was for coloring books.
Is it like scrap books or?
Yeah, right.
I can't remember. So it's like, for some people this isn't a Kenner piece, but it would look exactly the same. And I tend to I prefer ones that I know has been used by Kenner, of course, and even if it's being used by the sculpting department, the better. But in some cases, it's like, hey, it's from Lucasfilm, and say it filled the same purpose, and I think it's cool, especially in a run. So I think it's important to say it's like, okay, this is reference photo. You can say about pretty much stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, well, so how would you know if it was Kenner? Would it be stamped Kenner, or are they all stamped the same, like with Lucasfilm?
No, it's only about provenance who had it. The most public find was the one that the Earth made probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They had maybe 20 of them, which came directly from an ex-Kenner employee, and you could say that's a pretty solid provenance as far as that goes. And then, of course, if some guys have made a find from an Kenner guy, but it's important to know that these kind of photos could be found anywhere, from Europe, from the closer to Kenner, the cooler.
Right. Wow. Steve, I don't know. Am I spending too much time with this photo? Because there's a lot of different items here. Should we move on to like a Nugget? Should we allow Mattias to plug his book now? Should we talk about his amazing blog log? And his blog? Should we log his blog?
You should. No, you should ask what you start to ask about the blueprint. You see handwriting on it, and there's like a knob on it. Handwritten on it. You see like a round knob at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which obviously isn't present on the production one. But that you can see on the early prototypes in Kenner photography. So there's like a knob in some hard copies that you can see on some of my slides.
Okay, so let's go. Let's go back, because we have to remember I've never played with a accessory in my entire life. Growing up, I never had any of them. My mom threw them all out, or my brothers lost them. So the Emperor's Royal Guard has a lance, and that lance does not have a knob. But you're saying on the blueprint there's a knob end on the blueprint, and that is also present in some photography. I'm getting an accent now, Steve.
No, but my Swedish accent, good. You're turning into me.
So as a knob. The thing is, Mattias, all my impersonations of you just turn into Bane from Batman. So I don't know how that happens, but so you're saying there's this knob end is not on the production one, but it was on specific hard copies that are featured in things like you have a slide, and that slide has a picture of an Emperor's Royal Guard, and that hard copy accessory lance has a knob end on it.
Yes.
Good. So it had that. So then, do any of these hard copies with a knob end exist?
I haven't seen one. I've only seen it in photography. And I've actually only seen 2 hard copies, both in the same collection. And maybe there are others out there. And I believe both are hard copies. One could be proto-molded, but so not to my knowledge.
Okay, well then, Steve, last time I asked you where we should go with this interview, you had no answer, and then Mattias took us there. Should we try that again?
Yeah, so there is one item I thought that was really kind of neat in your run, Mattias, that I didn't really... I'm curious what the story is on it. So you have, I think it's a first shot with a brown cape of the Royal Guard. What's the story with that?
Well, that's the first shot, and
okay.
It comes from directly from a Kenner employee via another guy. And that's one I had probably the second item I got after the blueprint.
Yeah.
And there are 2 of those around that came from the same source. Okay. And at some points, you never know about this stuff. It's old. Is it faded? Is it
right.
Was it supposed to be like this? You don't really know. But when I got it, I examined it very close, and it's you couldn't see any signs of discoloration or anything. It was convinced it was a fabric sample to test it and see it. And then maybe 5-6 years later, Tom Derby had a signed sample up to the right. If you look at the show notes and you guys look at the picture, there's a carded signed sample with notes all over. And the most interesting note on that card is that, beware of old fabric, don't mix up with a new one, something like that.
Huh.
And it's it kind of makes sense that it refers to the brown material. It doesn't say brown, but it's it kind of makes sense. So that's at least what I believe. So there's a pretty cool example how a signed sample could be used, and a great purpose and cool notes. There are also some notes about the blister that's too thin, etc.
So Mattias, we wanted to actually interview you for the next Blog Log pod because your post about the Emperor thing coming to Sweden was really great, and obviously we love the Emperor, or at least I love the Emperor up until I broke his cup today. What is the deal with this Emperor thing? What is, if you were to try to get somebody to go and read your amazing post called "The Emperor Comes to Sweden," what is the story behind this?
Well, it's for some reason it's the Emperor has been really tough to find on as a card back. It's in quite many countries all around the world, price has gotten quite popular, and I never really understood it, but it's a way of identifying what kind of stuff that was sold in your country. But
price
was
stickers.
always,
I'm sorry, it got so price stickers. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, price stickers. What did you say? Yeah.
Yep.
And in Sweden, since we didn't have our own printed card backs in Swedish, people go after the price stickers to, hey, this was sold in Sweden, this is kind of neat. And the Emperor has all been kind of elusive. And then like maybe a year ago, I was able to track down a former Playmix employee, and he was like the head of sales. He was like the CEO's right hand.
Playmix, if people haven't listened to the third episode of the Kivecast in a little while, Playmix is, of course, the Swedish distributor of Star Wars toys. So you're speaking to a Playmix executive.
Like a real cool guy, and he's 75 years old, and he loves to talk about nostalgic things. And he's like, hey, you should come visit me. And he's up in Stockholm. I'm down in the south. That's like a plane ride. I need to go by plane. But of course, I want to interview him for like future books, for just to talk memories with him. And he invites me for coffee, and we talk like probably for an hour. And then you can see like, hey, this guy is interested for real. And then he starts pulling things out of his closet. And he had saved like a bunch of stuff, binders, postcards. The attic was full of toys, nothing quite rare, but he had like saved everything, and like old sketches for displays, for Power to Force displays, and so on. And he had a lot of internal stuff saved.
Wow.
And he started to tell me a post about the Emperor. Like they wanted to do something special. All the stores asked about the Emperor, and the kids asked about the Emperor, and the city came up with this idea, probably based on Paltoy promotions, Canon promotions, like, hey, we should pretend this is like a rare figure, and we should do like a special release for it. So they actually set the date when the arrival of the Emperor.
So they set an actual release date, like to hype people up for him showing up?
Yeah. There was like, people were asking about him a lot, according to him. So they set a release date like the 18th of August, very specific. And not only that, they only offered the Emperor to certain toy stores. And despite having like containers of Emperors, they said like, we have only a limited number of Emperors, so you only get like one box of Emperors. So they really created this big hype here in Sweden.
Do you remember the hype? Do you remember it as a kid?
No.
No. Okay.
No, not at all. This was like I was 5, and it was so. I don't think it was like a big hype. The country didn't like stand in silence awaiting the Emperor, but like he made it sound that way. But it was a smart way to make a release, and they made some. They created a very cool postcard of the figure Emperor standing like in a volcano kind of thing. So very old Mustafar feelings.
And is that
and they sent
is that really rare, the postcard? I've never seen it.
I've only seen the one I've got. So one so far, and maybe a few selected stores have saved one. So this was like an internal postcard sent from Playmix to the toy stores to, hey, here comes the Emperor. Make sure you got it, and here's the order number. You will get this display, you will get this poster, and here are the prices. Call, don't miss this campaign. Order now, kind of thing.
Yes, it says Newcomer Kazarin. Is Kazarin how you say emperor in Swedish?
Probably in Russian. Kejsaren.
What is it?
Kejsaren.
Kejsaren. So it's funny because they're so into English in Sweden, but they would translate it into Kejsaren. Huh.
Exactly.
Kejsaren.
Yeah.
So K is pronounced Shay? Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay. Kejsaren.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so if you want more details on that, go check it out. There's more details about a poster that may or may not exist. There's more pictures. We're not going to spoil the whole blog post for you. Go check out the story of Kejsaren and why August 18th shall forever now be Emperor Day. In the galaxy. That's when the Kejsaren showed up to Svenski.
Man, I'm advertising. I didn't even think of the Emperor Day. That's like definitely Emperor Day in Sweden this summer.
Yes. Or wait, are you ready? Kejsaren Tag.
Exactly.
Isn't Tag how you say day?
Yeah, but with an D, not an T.
Dog.
Dog. Yeah.
Kejsaren Tag. Okay. Phew. Well, this is good, Steve. We're still going at this good pace. What should we do now? Should we go to a nugget?
Sure.
'Tis a nugget from the archive. 'Tis a nugget.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
From the archive.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
All right, so Steve, you pulled out a heck of a nugget. I've never seen this before. I've seen things like it. I've seen things like it in Mattias's collection. But I have never actually seen this thing, nor have I even heard of the collector who wrote the entry into the archive. So we are dipping way into the archive. So what is this thing, Steve?
So it is titled The Power of the Force Royal Guard Printer's Proof Card. But what it is in concept, I guess, it's a kind of a mock-up of a Power of the Force proof card before it became what it really was. So it has one of those early Power of the Force logo designs, and it has a different image of the Royal Guard than the one on the Return of the Jedi card back.
Yeah, it's a little more close up. It's actually the Emperor in the Death Star hangar as opposed to the Emperor's Royal Guard. I think the Emperor's Royal Guard in the card back is in the Emperor's chamber, right?
Yeah. That's what I've always thought.
So this is a little more light. He's got kind of a goofy Imperial officer right behind him. Kind
just peeking over his shoulder.
Poking out.
Right. So there's a couple interesting things about this. One, like I was saying, is that kind of alternate Power of the Force logo, which I think there's a lot of those alternate designs out there that you can find examples of. But the other thing was that there is no space for the coin on this card back. So that's another kind of interesting thing. So I'm figuring this must have been before the coin project was really underway. But Mattias, you have a similar piece, right?
Yeah, that's also a mock-up, but like a later stage when just like you say, well, hey, we should have a coin or something. So it's like the next step from this mock-up. It says printer's proof on the archive is a real old entry. But yeah, and mine card looks really like it's only black. You see the later, more final Power of the Force logotype.
Right.
And you even have the free collector's coin text in it.
Okay.
And then it all looks like all black. But what's sad about this piece, if you look at it in person, you can clearly see that it used to have like a pasted on image with one corner. So there used to be a photography.
Yeah.
Wow, and it just fell off?
Yeah, I don't think you can see it probably in some of the pictures. Hopefully in the show notes, there's a red nameplate on the card as well. And above that used to be like a photography. Probably room for the figure, the racetrack, the coin. Who knows? I haven't been able to find the mock-up in any photography so far.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
as long as I can track back, it hasn't in no collector's hands. They are aware of the photography, so it's probably fell off like in the 80s or in the 90s. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right, and it's one of the things about the one that's on the archive as well is that the logo is separately printed and it's kind of on thin paper, and it seems that these Power of the Force mock-ups were really almost like kit bashed or something. Like they weren't printed, they were just like a lot of pictures pasted and a lot of things kind of smushed together. I mean, this one on the archive, the Emperor's Royal Guard, doesn't even have a nameplate. The name appears in the bubble where the figure would go, but above. It has a very strange strange thing. And the cool thing is that there's all these mock-up logos, and there's all this stuff that exists for the Power of the Force line in terms of proofs and logos. And at some point, there will be a book written about this. Is that correct, Mattias?
Yeah, let's hope so. Hopefully before I die. But definitely.
So this is the point, Mattias, where I want to start promoting your book. So first of all, I got a Facebook message from someone the other day asking about your book and saying if it was a good one worth getting. And, well, okay, I haven't responded to him yet. But when I do, I'm going to say absolutely it is. Is it still available? Is a new proof still for sale, Mattias?
Oh, it definitely is. It's like, I was surprised that the company that handles the shipment says like, hey, you only have like a couple of hundreds left. It's like a slow-paced selling, and but we're slowly getting there. That the second printing is getting sold out.
Wait, the second printing is getting sold out.
Yeah.
Wow, did you know, Steve, that you can make a second edition? A second printing of a popular Star Wars collecting book? I didn't know that was possible. So, yes, you can definitely get a new proof, which we've talked a lot about this show. And then at Celebration, are you going to be announcing the Cromlin Strikes Back? Where are you on that, Mattias?
Yeah, I am. I will hopefully have more sample. Unfortunately, it won't be ready for Celebration. I was aiming for it, but well, life happened too much. But hopefully later this year, and at Celebration, I at least will have a release date, and I will have books with me. I will actually be in James Gallo's booth, Toy Heaven, in a small corner of his booth. I will have some new Cromlin Strikes Back news and some books, new proof books as well.
And speaking of Celebration, okay, I want everybody who sees Mattias at Celebration and listens to the show, every single person, when you meet him, I want you to sing his drop when you see him, okay? Just say, ah, just say that every single time. I want Mattias to know. I want him to know how much you love him and how much you love his appearance on the show, okay? So, Mattias, are you okay with that? If they meet you and they don't even say hello to you first, they just say, ah.
Definitely. I'm used to it. Ron does it all the time.
Yes. So
that's nowhere. So
that's what we're asking of you. If you are a space freak and you see Mattias at Celebration, make sure you sing to him. And for goodness gracious, whatever you need, when people talk about what are the books that you need to have a respectable collection of books about Star Wars toys, a new proof is, essential. It's top 5
absolutely.
In terms of what you need to have. I would even put it above some of the other books that we've promoted on the show, but I'm not going to say which ones. But it's absolutely indispensable. And if you keep buying these books, people, Mattias will keep making them, and then we'll get to have an entire huge spread all about the Power of the Force mock-ups. Now, on the archive, there's a lot of information about the Power of the Force mock-ups and the different logos and designs, because clearly Kenner was just spiraling out of control. Like, well, how do we do this? We need to sell more Star Wars toys. We need more Star Wars money. We need that stimmy. But who is Don Gary? He's the guy who wrote this post. I've never heard of him. Have you ever heard of him, Mattias?
Actually, no, well, that's a cool, I think he made a post about like a template for a Paplu card as well.
Yes.
I think that's the same guy.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Which is like almost like as close to mechanical as you can come.
Yeah, he only has 4 things on the archive, and they're all awesome.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm now just obsessed with the new pronunciation of Paplu. That is way better than Paplu.
Yeah.
Paplu.
I have quite a few of those pronunciations. It's like,
Well, if they never say Paplu, who's to say it's not Paplu?
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right, Steve, where should we go now? Should we go to something Unloved?
Sure.
You don't hate, only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. The unloved and the unnatural.
Like last month, I kind of found a bunch of stuff. So it's a matter of do you want to kind of do a rapid fire Unloved, or do you want to pick a couple things and really focus in?
Let's do the same thing we did with the Gamorrean Guard. You know,
All right.
like where the licensing Lucasfilm was doing, they just said, you know what, we're going to sell all this crap. Let's just do all of it. Let's just do everything. Let's go
right.
head to toe. Let's go.
All right.
So
we're gonna start at the toe, if that's okay with you.
Yes, let's start with the toe.
So this first one is the Darth Vader roller skates, and I have to say, like, back when we first started doing the Unloved segment, I kind of had this in mind for whenever we got to the Royal Guard, just because
Wow.
I just had this great image in my head of Vader and 2 Royal Guards, like, flanking him roller skating. It's just this...
Yes.
The box is incredible. It's got Vader flanked by the Royal Guards, like all these things do, but the roller skate itself is pictured in like hyperspace mode. It's like you should be able to like go incredibly fast on these things, but when you actually look at the open box, you kind of get deflated immediately.
Right. It's just a black roller skate, although it does say Star Wars on the wheels with the racetrack, which is pretty sweet.
that is pretty cool.
And then it just has an image of Vader with 1 Royal Guard.
One Royal Guard, yeah. Yeah, I've always loved the image of that high speed roller skate.
Right, which must have been airbrushed by the company that made them. Brookfield Athletic.
Yeah, Brookfield Athletic.
Which also made the ice skates, the Darth Vader and the Wicket ice skates.
Right, right.
Oh man! Oh, these are sweet. Okay, we have to come back to them. All right, Steve. So we're down to the toes. Where else on the body can we put our Imperial Guard lance?
So, I am really bummed out. There was one item that they didn't have an image of, but I'm very, very intrigued, which is the Royal Guard sweatsuit.
What?
That was one of them that didn't have an image. So I'm gonna have to bug Duncan about that. But instead, we have this sweatshirt that has an iron-on on it, which is really odd. So it has Luke in his Jedi outfit. It has 2 Royal Guards, and right above Luke is basically a photoshopped image of him in his cloak. And it's just so strange because the face is kind of blacked out, and it's like, who is this supposed to be? Is that supposed to be the Emperor? Is it supposed to be Luke if he went to the dark side? Like, who knows? But it's just this really strange iron-on image on this bright red sweatshirt. What are your theories?
It's kind of scary, like ghost thing. I don't know. Like I had never seen it.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
It looks like Luke in Jedi outfit at Jabba's place,
right?
But why?
You're right.
Yeah.
This image is one of the weirdest images. Okay, Duncan, I know you listen to the show, okay? I know you love the database entries, but we need to get your camera just going, okay? First of all, I need to know what an Emperor's Royal Guard sweatsuit looks like so that I know what I'm going to wear when I retire, okay? I'm going to be like the guys from The Sopranos, but I'm going to have a closet filled with Emperor's Royal Guard sweatsuits, okay? And we need a better picture of this crazy iron-on.
Yeah.
You know what? I really think that this must have been a very early image, and I think they took maybe pictures from Luke constructing his lightsaber, because the bonus footage of Luke constructing his lightsaber, he has the hood over his face like this.
Right.
And this was released in the Blu-ray. It was a unseen shot from the original movie.
Original opening scene from the movie, right? Or close to opening scene. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, you see, the photo was taken by Anne. So really what we need is just more Anne Jenkins. But we always need more Anne Jenkins on the show anyway.
Yes.
Because this is one of the weirdest images I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because Luke is essentially portrayed as a dark side figure. He's flanked by 2 royal guards. He's got the Emperor's spider web window behind him.
Right. Yeah.
He's in his dark cloak, and then he's in his black. This is amazing. Wow.
Yeah. I thought maybe it was trying to be an image of the Emperor, but it's just so strange.
Now, let's pretend that you can't find your sweatshirt or your sweatsuit, and you go outside and it's raining. What are you going to do, Steve?
Well, you're going to put on your Darth Vader and Royal Guard silver rain poncho.
Silver rain poncho.
Yeah,
wow.
This is from Adam Joseph. And I'm thinking, man, why isn't this thing bright red? Like, you'd think that it would have to be, if it's a Royal Guard poncho, it would have to be red, but I guess maybe that would make the imagery not stand out as much. But
No, there's no good reason. So this is a silver poncho with on the front it says Return of the Jedi. On the back it has this weird like upside down home plate image. It's like a triangle, and it has Vader crossing his arms like Stephen B. Danley, and then the Royal Guards behind him, and they're on a blue background. Yeah, it's a very weird-looking image. It's actually the most Illuminati-looking Star Wars thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that.
Absolutely confirmed.
I would like to have this poncho today. I love it. The design of it, yeah.
Well,
I think it's amazing.
We'll have to track one down at Celebration, because all the Jedi gear that we're tracking down is just outstanding.
Yeah.
And is that it, Steve? Are we done with the unloved items of the Emperor's Royal Guard?
No, just in case the poncho wasn't enough.
No?
There's a corresponding umbrella with the same imagery.
Umbrella.
Also from Adam Joseph. So this has got the Illuminati Vader and Guards home plate triangle thing on an umbrella.
The pyramid is power. Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I figured it out, Steve.
Okay.
The designers of Adam Joseph were tasked with coming up with a design that would fit an umbrella. And so an umbrella is a rectangle at the bottom that leads up to a pointed triangle at the top.
Sure.
And that's what this image is. It's a rectangle on the bottom, and it becomes a triangle at the top. So they must have created this silk screen, or I don't know, Mattias will know, but they must have created this image and then said, oh, well, we only used it on this one umbrella. Let's also put it on the poncho. I think that's what has to be what happened.
Yeah, it's a good theory, definitely. And the art is like common artwork, like that Vader is like used on everything. So I guess they just pasted something up from general illustrations they got.
We did have one more item. I don't know if you want to...
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know if people can handle it, Steve.
I mean, if you still have any money left after buying all of these great Royal Guard things, you have to put them in a bank, right? So there's this Emperor's Royal Guard bank, also from Adam Joseph, which... it's pretty simple, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they must have been released kind of later, because on the back they also have advertisements for Princess Nisa and Wicket the Ewok.
Yeah. And this is something we didn't mention on the last episode about the Gamorrean Guard, but I think we mentioned it maybe in the Sansweet episode. But there's that elusive Gamorrean Guard bank from this same line that wasn't available in the States, I don't think. It was one of those tough things that could only be found overseas. So I think a lot of people looking to complete their set based on the back of this box, they couldn't get the Gamorrean Guard, but they could get an Emperor's Royal Guard.
This is a perfect example why the Royal Guard is so cool. It's like almost impossible to make it look like a boring, lame figure. It's so accurate in it's so simple in its design, so it's always looking good. It's like so simple, and even the action figure is very screen accurate, and this one is too. This could be like applause figure from today, and it's from like back in the day.
Now, Mattias, I do believe applause has not made a Star Wars item in about 20 years, but your point is well taken.
I mentioned I was getting old, didn't I?
Yes, yeah. Well, you're the same age as me, so you're only old compared to Steve.
All right, so we hit the Market Watch?
Yes, let's do
the
$1 Flicks Market Watch. $1 Flicks Market Watch. Hockey Market Watch game. Hockey Market Watch game. Hockey Market Watch game. Hockey. Okay. All right. So, are we going to be competing against ourselves, Mattias? Have you been cheating?
No.
Okay.
No, of course not.
Because this is going to be like the 1980 Olympics, where America famously won gold over Sweden. Yes, that was where America won gold, people, not over Russia. Some people don't forget. So, let's... I hope I'm right about that, Steve. I think I am.
You sounded confident enough that I think, people will buy it.
I am very confident. But I am sitting in my basement, and if you've ever been to my basement, you know that I have a little rod hockey set on my table right at my feet. And I do have Finland versus Sweden as the two teams that you can play as. So, yes. And I only root for Finland 70% of the time. Okay, so now that I've gotten Mattias really angry at me, let's do this, Steve.
Okay. All right. So let's start with some more Royal Guard auctions. So these are from Brisbane, and I've got three here, just to make it quick and simple. So the first one is carded,
and it's whoever's closest wins. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go in. And I'm going to get hockey noises. Okay, so this is going to be replaying the 1980 Gold Olympic game in Lake Placid. And every time that I win, I'm going to do the foghorn sound, and it's going to play that song that they play in hockey games. When they score a goal. And every time that Mattias scores, there's going to be either silence or people booing. Okay?
A lot of silence then.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, come on. All right.
All right. So item number one is a carded Return of the Jedi 65C Emperor's Royal Guard. So it's got the Emperor offer in the lower right corner. It's got looks like a pretty clear bubble. Pretty good shape.
It's not graded?
Not graded.
Pretty good shape. Okay, I'm going to write down. You have to write down your number, Mattias. Yeah. And then we'll tell Steve.
Bubble, Steve. Yellow or clear?
It's clear.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
Good question. I just added another 0 to my guess.
All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Skye, what do you got?
It's $250.
Okay. And Mattias?
Oh, and 0 cents.
240, actually.
What'd you say?
240.
123.50. So that goes to Mattias. Yeah.
Come on, Michael Ruzioni. You got this. Okay. All right. Next
that
up.
was easy win.
Yeah. Okay. So up next we have a 77A ungraded. So this is an offerless Royal Guard, 77 back. The bubble looks to be very clear. The card has a little bit of edge wear, but otherwise looks quite nice.
All right. Once again, I'll go first, even though that gives Mattias a strategic advantage, which if he wins, that's why it's rigged. Okay. Technically, I won the last round because I wanted to just check your facts. Okay? So, I am going to say $191.
All right. Mattias?
265.
Mattias takes it again, 350.
What? It's rigged. God damn it, it's rigged. I'm getting tired of winning, Steve. I'm getting tired of winning. Okay? All right.
Always winning, Skye. You're always winning.
Okay, the thing is, I want to win at least once so I can play this stupid sound effect. Okay. So a 77 offerless goes for $250, whereas a 65C, which would have been... No, the 65A would have been the debut. So,
yeah, so it was the 7708 for $350, not $250.
$350.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. The third item, and this is not, it's a Royal Guard item, sort of. So what we have is a mint and sealed box TIE interceptor. So you've got the Royal Guards on the box. And this thing was graded an AFA 80, so it's a graded vehicle.
My lord, this is fakakta. I don't know how to answer this. I'm writing down a number right now. But
okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't either. So that's the great thing about being the game runner. I don't have to worry about any of this.
So it's a sealed TIE interceptor.
Right.
God. Yeah. I don't even know the ballpark.
Okay. Well,
it's unfair. Mattias has an unfair advantage because he knows more than I do. So it's a little bit unfair.
Completely unfair.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have.
Wait. Sorry. Go ahead, Mattias.
Shall I start, or you start all the time?
No. I keep starting, so that way, if you need to cheat, you can cheat, so you can win. Okay. Okay. I am saying $1,069.69.
Okay. Mattias?
It's 700.
700?
Yeah.
Well, that's a hat trick for Mattias.
God damn it! Peter Forsberg sucks.
$577.
And the goaltender for the Rangers, Lance Henriksen, he sucks too. And God damn it! So
in terms of the first
round,
How much was it? 577
for a sealed TIE interceptor.
Yeah.
Good price.
Yeah. Well, so that's round one. Now I don't know if you guys looked at the general market watch that Pete put together. I don't know if you want to try and do a redemption, Skye. We have a couple items there.
Oh yeah. No, that first round, that was the preseason. Now we're ready for the real stuff.
Okay. All right.
Then I have to go, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go through these quickly. So the first item, this is from Fredtastic. It's a Star Wars Villains 3-pack. So it's the 3-pack that has the Stormtrooper, Vader, and the Death Squad Commander.
Okay.
And it's ungraded, pretty nice shape.
Okay, I've got the number.
All right.
Do you have your number, Mattias?
Yeah.
All right, I say 5,000 flat.
Okay.
3K.
Skye, you got it. 5,300.
Wait, what did Mattias say?
Didn't you say you said 3K?
Yeah.
You said 3K? I won?
Yeah.
Oh,
You won? You won? You won? You won? You won?
All right. We got a couple
really
more.
Close. It was
You were really close. Yeah, you're only $300 off. That's good.
Nice. Notice how the second that he loses, he's like, "Oh, I gotta leave now." You gotta lose with dignity, Mattias. You really have got to lose with dignity. Okay.
All right. Couple more. We'll go through these quick.
Okay.
So the next we have the Collect All 21 display header. So this is the header for the display that has the circular pictures of the characters. So not the figures, but the characters.
Okay. Kind of an ugly display. Okay.
Ungraded?
It's not graded, no.
1 second. $3,498.
What do you got, Mattias?
1,400.
Skye, again, 4,010.
Oh my God!
He's coming back.
Amazing.
We got a couple more. All right, up next we have a carded vinyl cape Jawa, 12 back.
Carded.
And it's not graded.
Oh.
Carded.
Condition?
The condition looks pretty nice. I mean, it's unpunched. I can't see anything majorly wrong with it, but it is not graded from what I can tell. It's just in a case.
Okay, I am going to say the exact same number, $3,498.
Okay, and what do you got, Mattias?
7,500.
Ooh, 4,999. So that, I guess, goes to Skye again, right?
Oh my God, we're tied 3-3. We are actually in. Wait, we are actually in the moment, Steve.
This is it.
This is actually sudden death overtime. This truly is Mike Eruzione's moment to defeat the Russians. By the way, you're Russian now, Mattias. We're going to finally defeat the Russians. This is going to be great. Oh, there's no way I'm going to lose this one.
This is crazy. In every show I've done this against you in my mind, I always win over you guys. So I'm devastated.
And you really should win because I am hilariously bad at this game. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So there couldn't be a more fitting last item for a sudden death overtime in the $1 Vlix Market Watch other than a Vlix first shot. So what we have here is a first shot Kenner Vlix.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This is, I mean, has there ever been any more pressure, Skye?
There hasn't been. I know it's going to be more than $1. You know,
that's a safe guess.
God, a first shot Vlix. God, it's got to be more than $1,000. All right, I'm going to say $10,000.
10,000.
All right, Mattias.
One was sold at Vectis recently. I can't remember what it sold for, but I think Skye's. I had like 8 written down, so I go with 8. But I think it was probably more. I should know, but 8 was I wrote down.
12,500.
Oh!
This is the greatest moment of my life. I'd like to thank the Academy for employing Steve. I'd like to thank the Swedish Crown Prince Charles John Bernadotte, who strictly opposed Norwegian independence to offer generous terms of union. I'd like to thank Olaf Palme, who was a Swedish minister who was murdered. Oh my God.
Yeah, well.
I'd like to thank the Swedish diplomat Raoul Wallenberg, for offering humanitarian aid to Jews during the Holocaust. Really, I couldn't have done any of this without King Charles XIII, who... Oh, wait a minute. No, Coalitions Against Napoleon. I did this on behalf against King Charles XIII. Okay, I'm gonna take down the History of Sweden Wikipedia page. Mattias, it's been an honor facing you on the field of battle. And everyone should see Mattias, and we'll be hearing from him next month to talk about Sherpa. And we'll be probably interviewing him at Celebration as well. Mattias, you are truly one of the bright spots in the hobby, spreading information, making books, getting voted on as the best collector in all of Sweden. And we will talk to you next month. Have a good time with Kala and picking up your kid at school.
Thanks, Mattias.
Oh, Steve, have I ever won? I mean, like, legitimately? I don't think I've ever legitimately won.
I don't know about legitimately. You've had some some interesting tactics of taking it home in the past, but no, that was pretty epic.
Of cooking the books? Yeah, I cannot wait to edit that and find all those stupid Jock Jam songs and put them on underneath.
There are some important things we still have yet to discuss, right? Okay.
I sort of wish I didn't accidentally read all that stuff about all those dead people in Sweden. I was just reading the Wikipedia page.
I think that's within the canon of the Kivecast.
Yes. No, I'm not going to edit it out. I never edit anything out to make me look better. The main thing I edit out are stupid jokes. So that's the sad thing. If you listen to the show and think there's too many stupid jokes by me, I edit out like 70% of them.
That's only for my poor ears.
Yes. Yeah. But Steve, really, I was good, right? Not going on and on about how we should name him Imperial Guard Lance, because Crunchy Gamorrean Guard has really caught on and has been a big thing. Yeah. And there's going to be buttons and stuff, and we're gonna promote it during Celebration. We'll record all the people who make Crunchy swag.
Yeah.
But part of me feels like we should have Imperial Guard Lance swag as well, just like with an arrow pointing and just like, I'm Lance. Okay.
I like that.
But we got to get to Bootleg Bonanza because poor Steve has to go off to work, and I have to go hang out with my brother. I get to hang out with my brother. So what's the deal? Why did Uzay, the Turkish company that made bootlegs, love the Imperial Royal Guard so much?
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like they really were infatuated because they have, two versions of his character that were in the Uzay line. The first is just, it's funny. There's no letter omitted. It's just Emperor's Royal Guard.
Right.
They actually spell it out.
Yeah, usually they change the name. Usually they make it funny or they call it something Turkish.
Right.
Like, Aslan Adam.
Yeah.
Or Oscar.
Yeah. So for the Royal Guard, it's just the Emperor's Royal Guard, and they have there was two versions with a cloak. So there's kind of a dark red cloaked version that looks pretty much like the original, and then there's one with the lighter red that even looks more like the original. So that's one version. But then you have the infamous Headman, which is it's been critical to the lore of our podcast going way back. And I just realized it's been probably years since we talked about Headman, right?
Right. Well, I mean, if you've listened to the Rick Springfield thing again, Rick Springfield talks a lot about Headman because that was the point in the interview with Rick Springfield where he came over to my side is when he realized he could talk about Headman and I would really care.
Right. Yeah.
So Headman, so much like they took the Imperial Snowtrooper and turned him into Blue Stars.
Their own character, yeah.
They decided to just create somebody called Headman. And it's funny, on the archive, there isn't much of a write-up about Headman. It is. Do you think he's Headman because he's supposed to be like the leader man? Or does the word head mean something else in Turkish?
That's a good question, because you have Walrus Man and all these other things that, are descriptive in that way. I don't know. I think, to me, he kind of seems like he'd be the head of these basic Royal Guards, but I don't know. He definitely looks a little more intimidating. He's got the shield and the sword. But what's kind of neat about this is that I was curious about the numbers of what were produced for Headman. I know we talked about it a long time ago, but there was this old thread on Rebel Scum that has it kind of succinctly presented. So for the longest time, there was just thought to be the one carded example, but then Rick Springfield manifests a second, right? So we have two carded examples. And as of 2013, there were 3 loose, complete examples, 3 to 5 that were loose with the shield, and maybe 10 to 15 that were just loose without any accessories. So it's this really small number, which just, it's just this really strange bootleg that is definitely like the most mythical and iconic, I think, in terms of bootlegs go.
The most iconic bootleg. I mean, it's got the headpiece is painted gold.
Right.
The body is black.
Yeah.
And the shield, we don't even know where the shield comes from. The shield just appears to be a completely different mold, like from nothing. We don't know where it actually comes from.
Right.
Interestingly, the description on the archive is written by somebody else who I don't know, Chris Mueller. The only thing that he has on the archive is this.
Yeah.
And he mentioned as being a medieval-style sword and shield. Mm-hmm. And it really is kind of this weird medieval-looking guy. He does seem like kind of a knight. I did look up on an online translator, and head in Turkish means head. So he really is head man. I wonder if it also means like leader or not. But
maybe not.
And going back to hockey, of course, Nicholas Hedman is still on the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's still number 77. So the best hockey jersey for Star Wars collectors is Headman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are 3 carded Uzai Headmans, and they go for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
So that's as good as any way to go out, Steve, on the Emperor's Royal Guard. I think we really went into a lot of detail about him and about how we liked him. I think we stayed nice and tight. We're going to probably have this episode come in reasonable and quick. And now, Steve, I think we should leave our way for the Space Freaks of the Week like Raphael Sadiiq. And I think either I'll interview them or we'll both interview them together. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But we'll get them on there and really start kind of spreading the love because we really care about our listeners. And the only reason it seems like we don't care is because I don't respond very often. But I do care, and so let's prove it. Physique like Raphael Sadiiq. Super freak physique like Raphael Sadiiq. It's the Space Freak of the Week, a semi-monthly peek into our collectors whose collections are unique. And they're also our fans, and that's on fleek. So why not try to kiss my cheek? Or later, maybe we could neek. Super freak physique like Raphael Sadiiq. Super freak physique like Raphael Sadiiq.
Do it. Do it now.
All right. Well, Steve, we are joined with our first ever Space Freak of the Week, and that is Dallas Ewen. Is that how you pronounce it, Dallas?
Oh, that's close, Skye. It's Ewen.
Ewen, of course, because you're Canadian, and all Canadians have Scottish names, so it's like Ewan McGregor, right?
Yeah, that's right. Good knowledge.
Yeah, well.
Scottish name.
And you're out in Winnipeg?
Yep, that's right. Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Okay.
Middle of the continent.
Now let's see if Steve can get this. If Steve's geography is good. Steve, is Winnipeg east or west of Edmonton?
Oh boy, you're really putting me on the spot. What if it's neither?
Yeah, that's not very fair, Skye.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if I have the answer either. Oh no, I do. It's east. Okay.
Okay, that was going to be my guess,
yes.
but
yes,
correct. South and east of Edmonton.
Yes, but we're
currently.
Yes.
I was going to say, you guys have a buddy who lives in Regina, no?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, so Regina's about 5 hours down the road from me, just a short distance.
Right, short Western Canadian distance. But,
exactly.
But part of all this exciting thing that we're trying to do with this is to try to keep it limited. I don't know if you've noticed on the show recently, but Steve and I have been trying to keep the tempo up because we tend to get verbose. So
keep it tight.
That's right. So Dallas, you were one of the first people to contact us to come on the show. So what are you up to? What do you collect? Why do you collect? How do you collect? What's your story, Dallas?
Well, I guess I started listening to the show a couple of years ago, maybe. When I kind of got back into collecting, like a lot of people, I was kind of in and out. Like I started when I was about 6 years old in '78, and collected for a while as a kid, of course, and then collected for a while in the '90s, and then kind of came back again when I started blogging. You guys mentioned my blog a couple of times on the show, which is really nice. It's vintagekennerstarwars.blogspot.ca or .com. Yeah, right. And so I've been a big fan of the show, and thought I'd get in touch and just see if we got a little chat. I basically just collect production stuff. I didn't get into it early enough to be able to afford pre-production or get into that, but I've got a run of loose figures and a run of 12-inch and a bunch of box stuff, and I just like to collect that to put up on the blog from time to time.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about your blog, it's very much about how much we enjoy it, because mainly you just sort of play with your toys, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love that when you said it's basically just a guy who looks like he likes playing with his toys. That's cool. But yeah, it is a lot of fun, because what I really like about the toys and vintage stuff in particular is the engineering thought that went into the toys, and the graphic design and art on the packages and the boxes. That I really enjoy that aspect of the hobby. So I just find that cool to put those up, and then to have detail shots of toys for people, to have a look kind of behind and underneath and everything else on this old stuff that we love so much.
Yeah, and is that actually tied into, are you an engineer or a graphic designer by trade, or is that just something that interests you in passing?
No, it's an interest of mine in passing. It's not my profession. I practice law as a job. Okay. I took commercial art in high school, so maybe I can say that about that interest. But I've always liked design, and the racetrack and the logos and the photos of kids on the boxes are really iconic for me.
Yeah, and it seems like sometimes you try to, or most of the time you try to recreate the box art with the actual toys.
Oh yeah, that's super fun. Just putting up the little tableau. I don't have any 6-year-olds around to dress up in turtlenecks and actually pose for the photos. That would be weird, but I'll just set up the toys, and it's a lot of fun.
You should just advertise that in the newspaper. Local lawyer looking for 6-year-old boys to dress up in turtlenecks and play with my toys. And
well, sounds more like a Craigslist thing.
Yeah.
I have to say, Dallas, every time I go to your website, and this, I always wish I remembered to go there more. So let's just say it again, so people can go. VintageKennerStarWars, one word, .blogspot.com.
You got it.
It just has, I think what I always say about it is that it has a certain joy. I mean, Steve, the most recent one is actually him playing with a B-Wing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly me playing with it.
Right.
See, Skye, you keep applying the play word. I don't know if it's necessarily that.
It's Dallas going, whoosh, whoosh, pew,
yeah,
pew.
That's super fun. I'm going to throw that stuff up on YouTube and get a lot of nice comments. But no, the B-Wing is a toy that is awesome. Like, all the play features in it. The rotating cockpit, the wings that come up and down, the landing gear, like the whole thing is so engineered. If you sold that thing today, like what would it cost? $100 or something?
Oh God,
probably
so much.
A lot.
Yeah, there's so much packed into that. It's great. And then the weird stuff that they put in the box art, like, you know, characters that really have nothing to do with anything, sort of hanging around a ship, and it's funky.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with your characterization of Lando hanging around trying not to work, but
well, what did it look like he was doing for you? Like, just hanging out?
Yeah, maybe he's checking out the repulsor lifts or something, or I don't know.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, Steve, I was supposed to let you ask a question too.
That's okay. So I guess should we before we get to the lightning round?
Yeah.
Is there any particular collecting related story that you've always remembered fondly that you could tell briefly?
Yeah, I have a very, very quick one, and it's more like an anecdote than a story. But when I was a kid, I got the original 12 figures, of course, like most kids did. And unfortunately for me, the Jawa that I got was a vinyl cape Jawa. And when I went over to my friend's place to play with, you know, everybody gathered up all their Star Wars toys and played all together, right? And I was always so jealous of the cloth cape Jawas because it just looked so much cooler than my lame vinyl cape one. But fortunately, nobody traded me a cloth cape for my vinyl cape Jawa, so I still have it on the stand with the 12, which is
awesome.
kind of cool. Yeah, I like that.
Wow. So did you even actively try to trade it?
You know what? I don't think I did because I probably would have gotten in trouble.
Okay.
I remember I had a die-cast TIE Fighter too, and I took it to school once when it was like 30 below, and I think I fell when it was in my jacket pocket or something, and one of the wings broke off, and I was quite devastated. And I didn't get bought another one because that's not what happened in the 80s. You know, you break your toy, that's kind of it.
Wow, that's a really evocative image of someone in Winnipeg walking in 30-degree weather with a metal TIE Fighter cracking on the ground. I think you can make like a short film.
I think so too. Yeah.
There's this Canadian short film that I've watched like 20 times called The Sweater, and it's all about this kid who has to wear a Maple Leafs jersey instead of a Canadiens jersey, and he hates it because everyone cool. Yeah. And so I can imagine you doing like a little short film like that with you and your little TIE Fighter in the snow.
Yeah, it'd be like French expressionist cinema or something like that. All sad. But yeah, the hockey sweater is totally iconic. Like we basically study that stuff in school. And in fact, an image from the hockey sweater is on one of our pieces of money. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's a very famous Canadian story. Super cool.
Well, look at me, Steve, for how much I tease our Canadian fans and friends.
Let's say this is probably the least hostile Canadian interview you've done yet so far.
That's true. It's just because we don't know each other well enough. When I get to know them well,
Yeah. Well, I'll give you this. AT-AT.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
See, there you go.
It's going south. Well, how about we get to our lightning round? Although I am enjoying this. This is the problem, Steve. Is I'm always going to want to talk to people longer. But
I know
this is good though. We'll leave them wanting more. So why don't we start with the nice thing about interviewing people who want to be on the show is they listen to the show, so they're at least a little bit ready. Recently, when we actually were like lightning round, sure. Oh, favorite line? Okay. So what is your favorite bad line of dialogue from a Star Wars film?
Oh, you know what? My favorite is one of the ones where they use an insult, and it's usually Leia insulting Han Solo, that's so completely weird. Like there's one where she calls him a laser brain.
Yes.
And I think the line is, I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain. Yeah. Like an adult person is going to call somebody else a laser brain.
That's a great point.
Okay. But there's, get that walking carpet out of my way. Like when he tries to be clever and colloquial, it just sounds so weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah,
right.
that's probably my favorite.
All right, that's great,
line.
Steve. You want to ask the next one?
Right, so So moving on, we've got the burning house question. So if there was a great fire in Winnipeg, what would be your one vintage item that you'd have to take with you?
Oh, well, I'm going to cheat a little on that one because I would take my my action display stand with the first 12 figures on it. Is that okay?
Yes.
I think that passes, yeah.
And that's your childhood display stand as
Yeah,
well?
well, yeah, that's another stupid story because you remember back in the day, it was before the internet and everything else, and you had to mail away for this thing, right?
Right.
And so we saved up all the proof of purchase and mailed the thing away to like Minnesota, wherever it was, and it never came. Never came, and it never occurred to anybody in my house that we could actually pick up a phone and call somebody at Kenner, like in Minnesota, which isn't really all that far away, and ask what happened to the action display stand. But I got another one as an adult collector, so I do have one.
It was rectified.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of really good stories about the old days in Winnipeg. I'm telling you. Okay. All right, but we gotta stay on target here. Steve.
Okay, stay on target.
Oh no, it's on me. Okay, so we get the sense of what kind of collector you are, but we don't really know. It doesn't seem like Focus or anything, so I can't guess what it would be. But do you have a grail item, an item you're really looking for more than anything else?
Well, yeah, I would really like to have a tattooing skiff.
Okay.
Because I don't have one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to have a tattooing skiff. And we didn't really get a lot of Power of the Force stuff, it seems to me, up where we are. So I don't have any childhood recollections of it or anything. But, yeah, tattooing skiff would be cool.
Okay, so someone's got to find Dallas and sell it to him really cheap, or give it to him,
yes,
so that he can play with it. I mean, blog about it on his thing.
Yeah.
Go. Pew. All right.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, Steve, we just timed it really weird where you get to ask the last question.
I know. I was actually just going to say, this might be the first time I've ever done this.
Oh, definitely.
It's just the way. Yeah, it has to be, right? So,
yeah.
if you were to be a vintage item, what would you be? Not what would you want to be, but intrinsically, what would you be?
Right. So I think for me, it would be one of the first 12 figures, but not like a hero or somebody super cool. I thought it would be probably Death Squad Commander.
All right.
Because, like, my job, I work at a large financial services company as a lawyer, so I'm kind of like a cog,
Right.
Like sort of an Imperial thing. But at the same time, I like to think that I have some autonomy or a little bit of power, like maybe more than a stormtrooper would. So I'll take Death Squad Commander.
Awesome. I like that. Steve, I don't think we can ask the last question that I came up with. So my other last question I was going to ask was, if a train were coming and you could only save me or Steve, who would you save?
This is the framework of the question.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, man.
But I don't think we should ask it. I think it'll make Steve too upset when everyone says they'd save me. So.
Well,
so
that is what you would say, Skye.
Yes, it is. Well, awesome. This has been absolutely charming. I would actually like to keep talking to you, but I have to keep to this stupid idea of keeping it to 10 minutes, and it's already at 15.
Hey, no worries.
So
no worries.
Great.
Let's do it again sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And anytime you want to email us and ping us to let us know when you have a new blog site up, contact Steve because he might remember. And let's keep working together because we love the stuff that you're doing up there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks
right
again.
on, and loving the show, guys. Keep it up.
All right, thanks.
Cheers.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, Steve. Well, that was a breakneck fun interview. I think we did well.
Yeah.
We got to try to keep it closer to 10 minutes, but that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too far over.
No, that wasn't too far. I especially given our nature, I think it's it's difficult. But yeah, we're getting there.
But oh man, I love that guy's website, and I'm really glad that we got him on.
Yeah, me too.
I think every single person we talk to, I'm going to think, oh man, we should just have him on for a whole show sometime. So we'll see. Maybe by the time we get to Tatooine Skiff. We are now going to be talking to Mark Sanders. And I don't even actually remember where he's from. But Steve, I'm not going to look it up now. Why don't we just call him? And we'll just see. And we'll just check out what's going on with the next Space Freak of the Week like Raphael Sadiiq.
Sounds good.
We're ready to get going. Matter of fact, I already hit go. So, Steve, we are now here with Mark Sanders. How's it going, Mark?
It is going fantastic. How are you guys tonight?
We're doing great.
Not bad.
We actually recorded one Space Freak of the Week just earlier, and that was with somebody from Winnipeg, Manitoba. You do not sound like you're from Winnipeg, but we didn't look up where you are from. So where are you from, Mark?
Yeah, so I am from just a little south of Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
Grew up in Western Pennsylvania and have lived out here in Colorado for about 10 years.
Okay, so Steve, are you ready for your geography quiz? Okay.
Oh, sure, Skye.
Steve, what state is directly above Colorado?
Jeez.
Okay, it's Wyoming. Okay, let's keep things moving on. Okay, so
please.
So what kind of collector are you, Mark? What are you into? What's your collector story?
Yeah, well, I've been around. So I was born in '72. So Star Wars has just been a part of my life pretty much the whole time. I remember seeing it. It must have been '78 when I saw it. I remember seeing it in a drive-in, and I knew of '78 because I already had my figures with me. And Skye, you'll enjoy this because I always thought Chewbacca talked in the movie, and that was one of the only things I remember from the movie is that I was really surprised that he didn't talk in English in the movie. So yeah,
that's awesome. So you had the toys before you saw the movie.
Yeah, so it must have been like the summer of '78 because I know a lot of those movies were released forever, at that time of year. So yes, I've always been a collector. Really went through it, back through the early '80s. When I got out of it in the mid '80s, I went more into sports card collecting and not so much like G.I. Joe, and I know other people kind of went that direction. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting back involved with it, back with the modern line, as a lot of people did. And as cool as the modern line was, it just wasn't the vintage. So I actually started going back and getting some old vintage figures and found my old vintage figures in the attic of my house that I grew up in. It took quite a while because there was a lot of stuff up there, but I found my a lot of Star Wars. I found my original 12, and I've got those on display up in my collecting room. And then my special one is it's a R2-D2 that was my very first figure that the paper actually came off, and my mom painted it to make it look like R2-D2.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's awesome.
So I still have that one, yeah.
You definitely have to send us a picture of that so I could put that up in the show notes.
Yeah. Sure, no, I'd be happy to, yeah.
And what's funny is I often think about if I could have gone back in time and told myself the value of the toys that I was keeping in a box versus the cards that I was collecting. Like, like if you could have told me that like the Stormtrooper I was playing with would be worth more than a 1986 Jose Canseco Donruss card, I would have been you're out of your mind. Yeah. This thing is on a rocket ship to the moon. This is going to be worth $1,000 in 40 years.
The 84 Don Mattingly, that's the one I always thought of. Like, I had a couple of those, and I'm like, man, this is going to be my ticket. And, had I just wandered over about 2 aisles and gotten some of the vintage, some of the Power of the Force figures or something, I would have done a whole lot better than that. But whatever, I guess we can't go back in time.
No, the funny thing is I still feel like I'm not worthy of owning the 84 Donruss Don Mattingly. Like, that's always been such an object. It's like the way people treat, like vinyl Cape Jawas or whatever. Like, no, I'm not that big of a collector. Anyways, that was on.
Well, I'll trade you one for one of your Chromalins or something if you want.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. That's not a bad idea. Now, what do you collect now?
So, well, when I went back, like I said, I moved to Colorado about 10 years ago, and when I started to collect a lot more, because I was actually able to get a dedicated collectible room, much to my wife's dismay, although it's kind of nice because it's down in the basement and she can pull the door shut and make it seem like it's just a closet, and she doesn't ever actually have to go in to see any of it there. But really what got me back into vintage is, like I told you, I've always been a collector, and when I was growing up, my dad collected coins. So I started collecting with him. I started collecting the state quarters, and we would get a roll of those each time. Huh. And he died a couple of years ago, and I had a whole bunch of them. And just I kind of got out of it and didn't see any value in those. So what I ended up doing is I cashed them in. And so this was maybe 6-7 years ago, before the prices just like quadrupled. I cashed them in and bought a set of the first 79 on loose on eBay, and that really kind of got me back into it. And then since then, I've been going through and getting things like just the things that I really liked, like the troop transport. I was able to find my old Millennium Falcon that I played with my friends forever. So I put together those, and then the last couple of years, I've kind of honed. I got rid of a lot of my modern stuff, and I've been collecting some of the Sideshow and Hot Toys figures. I heard on another podcast they said that those were the kind of the figures that we always wanted growing up, and right. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far, but they're pretty darn cool though. Getting the original trilogy figures from that era.
Right. Wow, awesome. So you have like a whole basement or a room to a basement. Now, is it the kind of thing where she says that she doesn't like it, but then when she takes people on tours of the house, she's kind of proud and like shows off how cool it is?
I don't know if she's proud of it, but everyone, when I take people on the tours of the house, that's always the place that everyone stops, and they're always excited. So it's like, oh, wow, look at the kitchen table. Oh, wow, that's awesome. But downstairs, that I could show them pictures of, hey, I was 6 years old when I got these things, and here they are in display in an adult's house. That's it's at least an interesting story for people to hear about.
Is there anything that, about one of your collectibles that some people may not know about? So some oddball fact from something in your collection.
Well, no, I mean, I just think that, my mom was a painter a bit growing up, and so she made me a Rebel Fleet Trooper out of one of the Death Squad commanders, which was pretty cool, because that was one of the figures that I always wanted that they never made. So she just took the Death Squad commander and painted a white helmet on it, and so I was able to have one of those as well. But no, I think the cool thing was that I always loved. So I was always kind of a Luke fan, and I always kind of focused more on him. But I also loved the Stormtroopers as well. So that was my first thing. I still remember I got 7 Stormtroopers, and that was my friend and I would play with the Death Star playset all the time with the Stormtroopers and the Rebel Fleet Troopers, and just it's so funny. I mean, that was like 35 years ago, and I can remember so many of those things like it was yesterday. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember, playing with toys when I was 8 years old. So, no, I mean, I think for me the big thing is just the connection that it had, and how it is just so entwined with my childhood and with my friendships back then, and it's just pretty amazing. And I think that's what keeps me in this, and listening to podcasts and reading collectible books about these things is just that connection that you have to the past. That I've got 2 daughters, and I wonder what they're going to have a connection with to the past.
Yeah, right.
Is my daughter going to have a frozen room 30 years from now? I don't know if there'll be anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think Star Wars speaks to me more than, and to a lot of people, I'm sure, listen to the podcast, it speaks to me more than most other things in the world. And I don't know, it's just always been kind of special that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A Snapchat room. It is funny in our emails, sort of back and forth. You did say how you feel like you sort of know people who are on our show from the podcast. Yeah. And I do really like that this kind of idea of like kind of get to know each other through that, and it's feel like even though it's only been 7 minutes or whatever, I do feel like there's that weird sort of connection. Should we hit the So Be It lightning round?
Yeah, let's
sure.
do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. And the great thing about the Space Freak of the Week is that the Space Freak is always ready for the lightning round. So this time, Steve...
I am prepared.
He's prepared. So, Steve, why don't we start again with you? It was fun having you start.
Okay. All right, so what is your favorite bad line in the Star Wars movie?
Oh, just so many of the Jar Jar ones just make me sick and cringe. Like the Bantha Poodoo, I think, is the one that just made me want to turn in my Star Wars card at one point.
Well, I think that smells stinko whiff, but okay. Do you have a Grail item?
Yeah, I think the Grail item would be, and I don't know if I'm priced out of this right now, but I would love a set of 12 backs on card.
Okay.
I have all the figures and I have some of my old card backs, but I would just love a collection of those because that just hits in my wheelhouse in terms of what I most love about Star Wars and about vintage.
Yeah, well, I think I'm trying to think, Steve, about how possible that is now. I mean, obviously it's possible, but I think probably talking to Mike Cooper would be a good idea. I mean, I know he talked about that on the Vintage Rebellion about putting together a set for cheap, but at least I don't know. If I were you, I would like just try to get 1 to 2 a year, and then in 6 years you'll have a complete set.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. No, that would be good. Yeah, and I'll just have to hide the purchases so they don't cause the end of my Star Wars collecting room.
Well, you could probably sell all of your 1980s baseball cards and buy like a C2 Tusken Raider.
Yeah.
I would imagine if the bubble's attached. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, it's your turn.
So, all right. The burning house question. If there was a fire encroaching and you had to grab one thing from your collection, what would it be?
Well, I think I'd grab my vintage Millennium Falcon and open it up and stuff my first 12 and my R2-D2 in it and then run out of the building. So it's
practical
one item, right? Because it's only, it's in one container. So I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Hey, if you can make up the order, I can make up the answers,
hey, no,
right?
It's absolutely.
Yeah. Hey,
absolutely. Okay. Now the question which stumps most people, but if you say you're ready, you're ready. If you were an item of vintage Star Wars memorabilia, which one would you be?
So I have thought long and hard for the last couple of years about this one.
Oh, great.
And I think probably what I would be is the Darth Vader carry case.
Okay.
Because I really like having things organized. I like the little compartments where you can put everything, and then you close it up and you take it with you, and it moves very nicely. So I think that's where I try to live my life like that too. So I think that's probably the best answer that I could be. Although those Royal Guard, what'd you say, a Royal Guard jogging suit or pajamas? That sounds cool too.
Yeah, it does. Steve, this is sort of the main reason that I really wanted to do this idea of just having these short interviews is like whenever I listen to podcasts a lot and they have this kind of question that they ask every episode, like I always think about the episodes, like about my answers. And the idea that someone could have listened to our show and then answer the question, like the amount of times I've answered the stupid Rebel Force radio questions that they ask, and I'm like, oh, I just wish they'd ask me. So, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so,
well, and along those lines, so I did a haiku for you as well.
Ooh, oh, nice.
Man. So
I'll have to put in the Japanese katana flute underneath. Okay, we are...
Okay, great.
Okay, and I can always edit out Steve's laughter. He cannot help but laugh at the end of a haiku.
All right, are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay. Skye-Cast Vintage Pod. Star Wars brought alive. Yellowed bubble, never.
Ooh, beautiful.
Yeah, that is awesome.
You like that?
Yeah, that's excellent. Wow, that's awesome.
Because you bring good information. You don't bring yellow bubbles and problems like that. you bring the good stuff to the podcast. So how's that? I tried to be meta on you a little bit there. So
very much. That's great.
Very, very kind.
You know us. We love the meta. I forgot to ask. Are you coming to Celebration?
Do you know what? I'm not this year. I had planned on coming a couple years ago, and I actually had a ticket to Anaheim, and it turned out we had some family health issues that I wasn't able to come, and I just can't get out of the way this year. But I'm really going to try to maybe. It sounds like 2019 is going to be the next one. So I really would love to do that. But hey, if you guys are ever in Denver, please feel free to give me a call.
Yeah,
you got a Star Wars place to hang out here if you'd like.
Love it. Yeah, and Steve, should we even mention the new question that I came up with? That's just no good at all.
Now that I know the full context, I don't know.
Okay, so you can tell us if we should ask this question on future episodes. If a train were coming and you could only untie Steve or I, who would you save? No, you don't have to answer it. Because I
can't answer that question. Yeah. Well, I mean, Skye, it would probably have to be you because you seem to be the one who runs like all the stuff. So without you editing it, I don't know if we'd ever get a podcast again. But I may be wrong with that. I don't know.
Oh, that's great that it seems that way, isn't it, Steve? That's what's great is the show is entirely 50-50, except when I talk about my 50 part, I get to talk about it all the time, and I get to edit in about how hard work that I'm doing, and I'm like, Steve's probably kicking back, drinking a beer, and playing baseball video games. Meanwhile, I'm editing the podcast. So, yeah, that's funny.
Well, you're the one who breaks in and says, it's 1:47 in the morning,
yes.
And I'm trying to do this now. And, Steve, maybe you should do some of that too, and make it seem like you're also doing a lot of that editing.
Yeah, the editing. I don't know if I could ever get my hands on it. That's that's
the funny thing, Mark. I don't even know the password to get onto the blog. So the Star Wars Collectors Archive blog, where it's posted, I've never learned the password because it's like I don't want more work. Still, I'm like I don't want more work.
I've sent it to you several times, but
I don't want more Star Wars work.
Because didn't you say that about episode 4 or 5 or something?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So awesome. Well, I have to get ready to get to bed and move along. You guys are on the west there, but it was excellent talking to you, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on and for.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay, Skye here. I'm editing together the show, and I realized that Steve and I wanted to do something for the Emperor's Royal Guard episode, but we forgot to do it. So this is actually dedicated to somebody's memory. Some of you may know, some of you may not. There's a guy who used to collect Emperor's Royal Guard. I knew him as Phantom Shadow. His name was actually Andy Pollock. But back in the days when there was all Rebel Scum forums, you only knew people by what their cool code name was. And he died suddenly in 2009. And he was the Emperor's Royal Guard guy. And I just thought that we should mention him on this show because it would be great if he were still alive. I never got to meet him, but it would be great if he were still here. And so anyway, thank you for. I was thinking about it because there's actually a pretty good interview on trilogo.info, Joe's site about trilogos, and it's an interview with Darren McAleese, who at some point we're going to have on this show, if nothing else than to sing Jefferson Starship. And he actually named his whole collecting room after Andy, who was a friend of his. And it made me think, all of our toys are going to disintegrate over time. They're going to be in a landfill somewhere, sometime, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years. All the bubbles will fall off, and the plastic will return its atoms to the universe. But the relationships that we form, that's an actual meaningful bond, which is to some extent eternal. Okay, I got to stop recording these things late at night. I just get too existential. Point is, Andy was a good guy. Yeah, you should spend less time buying stuff, more time hanging out with people. Okay. Speaking of which, I got to finish editing this thing so it's ready for celebration. All right.
Hey.
All right, Steve, that was a resounding success.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Now, I really need to figure out where our next Space Freak of the Week lives so I can at least refresh my peripheral geography. Okay, so this is the funny thing. Okay, I'm actually going to take a picture of me while I'm recording this. Okay, so if you're looking at the feed, you'll see a picture of the microphone, my computer with Skype with SD for Stephen Danley, and what is behind. And you'll see behind where I'm filming is a world map, another world map, a map of America, and then the Buckminster Fuller projection of the Dymaxion world. So I have this complete cheat sheet right in front of me. And so, it was great. Yeah, that was good.
And it was good. We got to disabuse him of the idea that I'm the one that makes sure the show keeps going. That's pretty funny. But yeah, so that was great. I think, I'm in the middle of editing the show, so it should be out soon, although if you're listening to it, it's already out, so that doesn't make any sense. There is one thing that we did not mention. This might as well be our goodbye, right? So what's the one thing we didn't mention when we recorded the rest of the show, Steve?
Oh, was it the good old fantasy baseball league, right?
That's right. It started up.
Yeah.
So so Steve has his traditional name of Delino Deflect Your Shields, which is a great name. I have a new name, which is Dan Q-Cianberry, which is, I think, one of my better ones.
I think, yeah.
I took his hat and changed it so it said QC instead of KC. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Yeah, no, I think you're still pretty sharp with your new team name. I got maybe like another 5 years. I'll have another one that springs to mind, but.
And I just would like to say that Steve had the first overall pick, and he picked the best player in Los Angeles, and Steve really shows where his allegiance lies with baseball. What does he love more than anything? Yeah. He could have won with Clayton Kershaw, but he knows that he's just a passing fad with a noodle arm, and so instead he went for Mike Trout. So that was that was a beautiful moment, Steve. That really confused me when you picked that. I'm like, Steve's trying to win this year. What the hell? So we'll have to see. Space Freaks out there, you can place your bets as to who's going to fare better this year. Let's see. We've recorded this show for 7 years, and we've been in the league together for 8 or 9.
Yeah, at least a couple more longer than that. Yeah, right.
Now, how many times have you finished ahead of me in the 9 years we've been in the league?
I don't think ever.
Okay, so you're due, okay?
Yeah.
Right now, everyone's listening thinking, I hope that train hits that son of a bitch. You leave him alone. Well, I had to be nice, Steve, because I don't know Dallas and Mark that much, so I had to be friendly with them. So, where do I put all this persona anyway?
Yeah. Well, it's the way it works.
Yep. I just edited out all the parts where I sound like a jerk. That's a way to really cut down the length of the podcasts.
Hey.
All right, Steve. Well, next month is Chief Sherpa.
Yes, and, Mattias Part 2.
Mattias Part 2. And I will... We'll be recording in celebration. We'll hopefully maybe even do some Space Freaks of the Week in celebration. If you see us and you feel like doing that, let us know. Maybe we can make 10 minutes free. Wampa wampa.
Adios.
With his colorful Star Wars picture display set and certificate.